should not be unlisted. It should be public. There we go. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's let's see. Yeah, that's good. We can do this, and then we can go over here, and then we can turn this down. All right, cool. Oh, 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 and what I got. Oh, 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 oh. Nobody can read my poker face. I know it can read my poker face. Oh my god, guys, and there's an Amber Alert. White male suspect. I gotta go. I gotta go right now. I gotta go. Let's see. Oh, okay, good. I was about to say, I hope the chat box is working, but yeah, it is. It's good. Poker face, poker face. Just gonna wait for a little bit more people to join. Browse themes. Let's see. How the fuck? Okay, where in the world? Stop soldier suicide. Yeah, well, maybe they deserve to kill themselves. Okay, somebody's going to take that out of context. We got 2 people in here. Who's in here? Who's the other person in here? I know it's one of you. Oh, here we go. Hello, 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 AX, 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 AX. Oh, okay. Okay. I understand what I need. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. Axe. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Do 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 do. So what should we be do? What should we? Not gonna lie, I'm pretty new fan, but you might be the only Milgram reactor I haven't lost my mind over. Thank you. It's because I'm so based. It's because I'm so based. That's why. You know, clearly it's because Mahiru didn't feed her boyfriend rats. Like, I understand that, right? Somehow that's there's this weird thing called symbolism that people don't understand. Yeah, like clearly Mahiru and her boyfriend were just homeless, right? Like that's clearly what was going on. Like there's nothing deeper going on, right? Mahiru and her boyfriend should be grateful for the for the effort that Mahiru put into her boyfriend, right? Also, Fuda clearly just burnt down a house. That's all he did, right? 100% analytic. Most people take it at face value and depend on the viewer to tell them what's happening. What the fuck's the point then? At that point, your viewers are doing the job for you. That's not how it works. That's not how like content creation's supposed to go. You're supposed to be doing it's a back and forth. You're doing it equally, right? You either get people who just ignore chat and are live streaming and only answer like tips or if they're getting paid. At that point, what's the point of having chat, right? It's just like a facade of interaction. Or you get people that are only there for chat and chat's the only thing leading them like they're fucking babies, right? And here's two examples of that. XQC is the baby chat, right? Like XQC is the one with all of the like chat leading them on. And then the other one of where chat is just nothing is like every major streamer out there that does gaming and like competitive gaming and shit, right? But the right way to do it is the way that I do it, right? Obviously, how we're doing it right now, but also like look at Germa, right? How he actively interacts with chat constantly while also not letting chat dictate everything 24/7 or other things along those lines. This one dude I watched saw Haruka's mom and said in his T2 video and suddenly started saying he killed her. 100% analytical skill. Yeah, that's big brain. That's big brain analysis. Which makes no sense. Most people take it... Yeah, okay. I already read that. I've been keeping up with Yuno's votes, and it's crazy that 11% are voting her guilty for T3. Well, good thing that it's already, like... That would be, what, 90 or 89... 89% in Ino rate? Which I'm so happy because Mahiru, not Mahiru, well, yeah, Mahiru does, but she's not coming back, unfortunately. But Yuno deserves Ino more than anyone. I think the more and more that I think about it, I genuinely think that Mahiru... No, fuck! I keep saying Mahiru. Yuno. I really do think that Yuno is like the underdog of Milgram so far, right? Like, at first, she seemed so innocuous. She seems so innocuous at first, like she's not that big of a deal, but then immediately you get to see how big of a deal she is, and how often she plays into the larger roles of other things going on. Became certifiably insane. Here, if you want like an actual answer to that of why people think Amine is innocent in T2, it's because she's a child. It's that's it. That's exactly why people voted her innocent, is because she's a child and they think that suddenly it means that her crimes are null and void, and you know, she should be voted innocent despite the fact that she's already killed once and is showing a want to kill again. Literally, what's it called? The community, like, voting her innocent, it just shows exactly what her character is supposed to represent, and that is that people underestimate children and believe that children are inherently innocent constantly, despite the fact that there is the 1 in a billion chance that children can be as evil or more evil than adults around them. Yeah, exactly. Like, the first thing she says, which is the narrative telling you on multiple occasions, ignore the fact that she's a child. And she does, and people still voted her innocent because she's a child. Yeah, genuinely. Like, at that point, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Makes no sense. You said it yourself too in your video that Ino wouldn't make any sense. Why are we justifying her beliefs to punish everyone who isn't in the cult? Exactly. People are wanting to vote innocent because it makes them feel good, and they are attributing voting a child innocent as some sort of moral judgment and making it a good thing. And that's stupid, but it's also reflective of the fact of just how is exactly what happens in real life. Sorry, I'm scrolling through Twitter at the same time. I need to like fucking stop. It's exactly what happens at the same time in real life, right? People will moralize and try and justify and attribute emotions and morality to decisions that don't have morality inherently in them, and other things like that. You see this with liberals, right? And Axe, don't take that the wrong way, right? The chat can explain what I mean whenever I say liberal. I don't mean I'm not anti-gay or anything like that. But like that's what you see with like a lot of liberals in real life. They'll moralize and say that their judgment of not judging people or letting people just live the way they want to live, despite the fact that it can hurt other people, right? Such as rich people. Shut the fuck up, femboy. Or you see this with the idea that, like, immigrants, right? Where they're like, oh, we care about immigrants, but if we don't do anything too major, we can still feel good about ourselves without really interacting or engaging with it deeply. And that's exactly like the sort of thing that's going on with, like, Amine's Ino vote, is they see her as a child. They see her as this, I was really quiet there, probably, right? But they see her as this child that must be voted innocent because it makes them feel good. And they think if they vote her innocent, it shows them that they're a good person. That, hey, look, I'm voting this child innocent because she's a child and all this other stuff. Yeah, my mind's like all over the place right now. I did not take my Adderall today. Guys, are you ready? Guess what's playing right now in the background? I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Ah! Oh my god. You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Like, I have the window, I have like just the window open. I can't see the title or anything, and all I see is Korean warning about like blood, and I'm like, this was alien stage. The exact same people voting Amine innocent are the same people that think that Luca did nothing wrong, absolutely, and there's not a single thing wrong with him. The biggest part for me is that she had zero chance of being different in life. She was abused and isolated all her life. Yes, she was. And that means that you don't vote her innocent. Then thrown in torture prison, how, when she could possibly have ability to be an adjusted person, when her whole life had been about punishment / death. The I'm a kid, so don't. But that's the thing, is that with Amine, is that I don't think. If you vote her innocent because she's a child, you shouldn't. Because we've been told already by the narrative that her being a child has nothing to do with it, right? She was forced into maturity already to the point to where the whole idea that she is 12 years old does not matter, right? Something is deeply flawed and fundamentally different about her that her age does not matter, right? And everything with the fact that she was in a cult the entire time, and that she was then thrown into a prison, I don't think an innocent vote does anything other than cause more harm to the other prisoners around her, because she has actively said that she will kill other prisoners. So if you understand that voting her innocent gives her freedom, then you understand that the risk of her hurting other prisoners who you have also voted innocent as well, right? People voted Mahiru innocent, and Amane was then voted innocent as well, but that still got Mahiru, someone who is infinitely more innocent than Amane, because she did not kill her boyfriend the same way that Amane killed her mother, and then now Mahiru, and then Shido, that an innocent vote does nothing. At that point, it is platitudes. It is the voting her innocent is nothing but saying like, oh, I feel bad for you. Oh, I'm sorry this happened to you. So let me just say that you're innocent, despite the fact that that innocent vote does far more harm and does more material things within the story and narrative than just saying, oh, I feel bad for you. Honestly, only thing I'm pissed about is Haruka dying in T3 and not really being an easy way he could have avoided it. He seemed sane, attachment issues aside. No, he did not seem sane, attachment issues aside. He had, not only was he developmentally challenged and stunted developmentally and mentally, but he was also very, very unstable in the way that he would break and fold under pressure of certain things like that. He needed to have a dominant force in his life to justify his own mental his like mindset, right? And that's why he went after Mu, right? And why Mu went after, they had like a codependency between each other. I didn't get voting logic. The vote Haruka guilty to avoid him offing himself, but don't do the same to avoid Amane. Yeah, but it comes down to one of those things that it's probably this. It's just different people voting, right? It's not the same people voting with the same logic. It's a different set of people voting for different reasons, right? And I think that's why people voted Haruka guilty, but then those same people probably didn't vote Amane innocent, right? It was just a larger mass of people and massive fans voting in different ways. Because people didn't see Haruka as abused or didn't have much empathy for him as they did Amane. Yeah, exactly. But it's also one of those things that comes down to, I genuinely do think that the trickery that Amane did worked on people. It worked on them. It got them to believe that she was innocent. Exactly. They brushed off her threats. They brushed off the fact that, sorry, got cut. The whole judge me as an adult thing was to me always supposed to be more like, haha, you fell for the character facade kind of thing. Like, trauma doesn't make a kid more mature. You are correct. In real life, trauma does not make a child more mature. It hurts them. It damages them. That's coming from a guy who was a traumatized child, right? It does not build you up. It does not harden you. If anything, it hurts you, but it does lead you into having a facade of maturity and other things like that. But I think the thing with Amine specifically is due to her specific trauma and the specific platforming that was done by her cult and uplifting and other things like that. Because we need to remember that Amine is not just a cult member. She seems to have been also a pseudo-cult leader as well. She was of importance in the cult in some way, shape, or form, right? Her dad was the leader of the cult, or was adopted. The guy that that tased her in the very beginning, and then she ended up, like, killing, or the guy with the mustache that's walking with the other child with the balloon is who I'm interpreting is the dad that she talks about. And we have to remember that he was a priest or so on, and I think that after that, after her dad supposedly died or something like that, she took over, and now a lot of the cult members look to, like, this child prodigy sort of thing going on. And I think the other thing we have to remember is we also have to remember what voting innocent in Milgram means. We don't know what an innocent vote does. Does it get them free? If it just gets them free, what the fuck's the point? It doesn't change them. It doesn't get them therapy. It does nothing. An innocent vote in Milgram is not letting them go free or making sure that they don't get punished or that they are going to change. An innocent vote in Milgram is an affirmation that they did not do something wrong. Remember, that's the point of innocent versus guilty. They all committed murder. Every single one of them is a murderer. The whole point of innocent versus guilty is deciding were they correct in their crime? Are they innocent? Did they do something wrong? Is their form of murder something that can be forgiven? Or is it something that should not be forgiven? Is it something that is bad? Is it something that should not be taken lightly? And even with Yuno did commit murder. But it's murder only within a certain purview. All of them are different ideas of murder. It is different rationalities and perspective on what could count as murder. Her abortion was not murder, because abortion isn't murder. It is the ending and termination of a potential life, right? But that is not what we need to focus on with Yuno specifically, because people wanted to only focus on the abortion aspect of it, when that is not at all what needs to be focused on. It is only another part of the larger picture. We need to understand of how it affected her personally, of what that decision caused her to do, and it caused her to feel, and other things like that. And that is what we need to understand. It'd be interesting if after T3 we get some sort of spin-off or info dump regarding different routes and outcomes that were possible, just a punch to the gut. Yeah, I mean, I'd really like that. I'd be interested in that. Oh!
Excuse me.
But yeah, that's why I think, any form of, like, trying to thank you, Salain. Any form of trying to justify an innocent vote for Amine just doesn't make sense to me, because if you look at all the stuff that we know about her, and then even if you're like, oh yeah, well, her being a child doesn't matter, but she is also still a traumatized child, that's still judging her based on being a child and other things like that. We need to understand that in this world, this is a supernatural world. This is possibly a prison that has taken people from many different places in time, right? Literal time travel shit. So we can suspend our suspension of disbelief and believe that a child, despite in real life it might not be the same way, despite the fact that real life does show that you know, there are 1 in a billion children out there who are exactly like Amine, and like are genuinely like basically adults, but in like a child's body, but with different mindsets and other things like that. We have to remember of what it goes to, that we need to understand that possibly the idea that a child with absolutely no form of childishness in them can exist, right? It's just a suspension of disbelief for the narrative's sake. But that's also downplaying it in a way too, because we have to also remember that a child was chosen specifically for the narrative. There is a choice. There is a reason behind it, right? And that is narratively, do you understand that a child can do wrong, but also understand that they are not the only ones that are guilty? Even if you vote them guilty, they are not the only ones that are at fault for them, but their actions are still their own at this point in their life due to the evidence that we are now constructing and putting into the narrative to then get people to judge. I mean, sure, she didn't have an abortion. It was a miscarriage. Oh, yeah, it was a miscarriage. She fell and lost the baby. I don't see anyone, even ultra-conservatives, seeing that as a murder. Isn't it that we, that it was like a purposeful miscarriage, right? And actually, Angel, I do absolutely believe that ultra conservatives would see that as murder, because they put credence and future into the possibility of children, and there's been plenty of times where there's been stories of like conservatives getting mad at their wives for having a miscarriage, and then blaming the wife because it was their responsibility to ensure that nothing wrong happened. And even if nothing did happen, it's one of those just like illogical things that that they, you know, blame them for. Is that she wasn't looking after herself while she was pregnant, which led to her fainting and falling. Yeah, exactly. And somebody, ultra-conservative, would see that as her fault and that she got her baby killed. Like, that makes logical sense to me that somebody would believe that. You're not taking care of yourself despite the fact you're carrying a potential life. Oh, it's your fault. You're a murderer. That's shit that I've heard in real life before. Anyways, did you guys see the new Don episode that came out today? My argument is that not many people are arguing about the morality, in a case which is different from the others. It's not as gray. Yeah, which is one of those things that I was like, if you remember in my like the first or second episode of my reaction, I was like, I guarantee there's going to be at least one, what's it called? There's going to be at least one or a few cases where it's going to be cut and dry, like, yeah, they're innocent, right? But yeah, the new Don episode was very good. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Animation is still peak as always. Honestly, for some reason, I haven't kept it with Done It on, even with season 2 going on and stuff. I recommend it. It's very, very good. I'm in love with Don the Don. I love the story. I love the supernatural shit going on. I think it's awesome. I think it's genuinely currently one of my favorite shows, but also one of my favorite what's it called? One of my favorite manga and anime. It's very, very, very good. Milgram handles topics of abuse and misogyny absolutely horribly anyway. I wouldn't say it's absolutely horrible, but I can absolutely understand why some people might interpret it that way. But I'm not a woman, so I don't have the lived experience of misogyny. In the way of experiencing it. The only I have experienced misandry, but I don't have the experience of misogyny. This case is very different for me because there is no clear guilty. I have to just catch up today or something. Been busy rewatching all of Evangelion. I have not watched all of Evangelion. Yeah, I would recommend it to everyone as well. I think the other thing we have to remember, specifically going back to Milgram and misogyny, is I think we need to understand that of where it comes from, right? And how even whenever people are wanting to deeply critique and understand, crime and then the punishment of crime and murder and what causes it, that there are still cultural things that are potentially being embedded into it because they might not have the material analysis or understanding of what causes it in the first place, or properly interrogated or confronted those same things. So we need, and what I'm saying is we have to remember that it's from Japan. I've actually never watched Evangelion. I've never once watched Evangelion, ever. I think the furthest I ever got into Evangelion was the first time Shinji bypasses like the wall thing. Why the fuck is the chat different? Hold on. Unpopular opinion, Evangelion's rebuild movies. Original series. Oh, that must have been a deleted comment. And then, do we even know who writes Milgram? No. I mean, yes, we do know, but I don't know. I'm sure we do know who it is. But me personally, I do not know. All I know is that like Neko 27 or 47 is a part of it. I don't know who that is. Yeah, me neither. I have no idea who that is. Sorry, I'm too busy looking at Femboy Gardevoir right now. That's a man name, so true as fuck. Oh, I thought you were saying that I can't wait for Milgram's sequel titled Ass Pool, but you're saying that you're waiting for Milgram to have an ass pool to cause a sequel. All I know is that the writer said that he experienced oppression because people told him men need to be careful and attentive when writing stories like Yuno's. What a fucking moron. What a fucking moron. Despite the fact that the very reason why Yuno's own story, very ironic, one of those cognitive dissonance things, the very reason why Yuno's story could be so impactful to so many young women um, is because of the very point that men who think that way exist in the first place. Remember, the whole reason why she got pregnant in the first place is because we have to remember that she's 18 years old and essentially basically being preyed on. Because men aren't being attentive, men aren't being careful. And I know that doesn't mean in writing terms, but also, how are you being oppressed whenever you're writing and not, I don't know. The words they speak to me. The words that I have is kill yourself. How about we put the author in Milgram and see how that works out? Yeah, that's the thing that we need to understand is that Milgram is a great story. It is a great piece of literature that we can understand and interpret and use of how real world things work and all things like that. And that's why, regardless of how bad the author is, you can still use and understand and even enjoy the story itself, either through reinterpretation or through understanding of the themes that are being presented, despite the amount of cognitive dissonance that is between the author and the stuff that he writes. So for all three trials and then watched her start her own mafia, totally not a rebranded cult. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't. Did I ever mention that? Did I mention that the DID writing wasn't very good? I think I did in the episode. The main thing that always bothered me about Yuno's story is that the writers, middle-aged men, always go out of their way through Yuno herself of reports to say that Yuno, teen, was always super aware and consenting and never call out the middle-aged men that requested sex work from her and pretend there was no power imbalance. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not to say that, let's say an 18-year-old couldn't, what's it called? Exploit men, obviously. I mean, like, of course that could happen. right? But yeah, you need to kind of be like a master manipulator, and very aware and have confidence in yourself, uh, to do that. And also, you have to already have a position of power, within the sexual relationship already, either through dominance and otherwise, for that sort of thing to work. But I kind of get the impression that was not the dominant type in these relationships, but she was still gaining money from them. So inherently, that power imbalance that was already there sexually was also being exploited socially as well, for her. So I mean, with Yuno's story, it's definitely weird that plot-wise she's just written to be an available woman with people-pleasing desires instead of addressing men in any way. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that Yuno's story as it is very interesting. It's very good in my opinion because of like the trauma that can come from these things. And even if the writer was trying to do like some conservative shit of being like, oh, don't talk about the crime, or oh, don't talk about the miscarriage and everything like that, like don't put too much stock in that, or like, oh, don't what's it called, don't focus too much on that, that doesn't define me, and trying to say like, almost trying to like rip autonomy from her in some sort of way, that in of itself, even if it's trying to be portrayed as a conservative sort of thing, even though we don't know if it is or isn't, is a good talking point. You should not boil down somebody to only the thing that they did, right? But yeah, it's, no matter how good and how interesting and how realistic Yuno's story is and can be related to by plenty of people in the real world, we have to also understand that there is a lot of flaws there, given the fact that, one, not a single time is the men ever addressed that caused these things in the first place. It's almost as if that it's her, only on herself, that's responsible, which is never the case, right? We are never solely responsible for anything unless it's purely for decisions that only affect us, right? But inherently, sex work involves more than one person. So even if, no matter what it is, the fact that the men are never addressed is very, very weird, right? This isn't just a scenario of like, oh, I stole something, so the only thing that matters is my own reasoning for it. It's, oh, I don't know, the fact that I was literally in bed with another person, but that other person is never addressed. I live for the AU where as she suggested, helps Haruka instead of Mu and gets to look after the child she missed, and Haruka the mother he wanted. That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. Why is there a fat furry Nazi on my screen? It's just that Milgram is supposedly a critique of society according to people who defend this story, at least, but they never ever call out the issue teenagers doing. I think that if you want to do sex work and you are a teenager, 18, 19, you have the right to do so. You have the right of autonomy to express your sexuality and your sexual life, however you want. If you want to do sex work, you can. But we also have to understand that there is in our society a group of people who are older than you with more experience who will want to exploit you due to your lack of experience. or want to abuse you due to preconceived notions that because you are that age, that you do not have that autonomy or those mental faculties or that sort of the ability to define yourself and autonomy, right? We have to understand that. And we also have to understand that sex works as it exists under capitalism. We have to understand that that too is exploitation of the proletariat. That is exploitation unbelievably imbalanced towards women. Because under capitalism, as both an ideology and a system of economics which benefits from the exploitation of women, either through exploiting their labor or their femininity or their perceived conditions, will inevitably force them into objectification to do sex work. So while yes, sex work is labor, while yes, sex work is a valid form of work, we also need to understand the fundamentals that under capitalism, it is still exploitation. Unless you are doing it and you are not being forced into it, or you understand that it is the only way for you to get money. So with Yuno specifically, given the fact that that was probably the only way under the society she lives that views her youngness as a form of sexual expression, she is getting exploited. I know I stopped talking. I was waiting for people to talk. You know what? Real as fuck. And it's interesting to me that there's parallels between Fuda, Kotoko, and Amine. Just funny how many double standards there are towards what is deemed redeemable justice. Yeah. Despite the fact that it's very interesting that plenty of people think that Fuda is redeemable, probably because he's a man, or it was done online, where Kotoko, because it was done in person, or she's a woman, it's seemed as irredeemable. Or people see Amine's form of justice as fine, despite because she's a child, despite the fact of not understanding what the fuck she was doing in the first place. Bye-bye, Saline. Bye-bye, Saline. Bye-bye, Saline. On everyone's soul, we are getting Fuda Ino verdict. I don't care. Yeah, I want Fuda Ino. I need Fuda Ino so bad. Because if he is not too far gone, you can do something to try, and if you vote him innocent, you might be able to get him out of his ways. Yeah, still has brain cells, yeah. Otherwise, I don't think we can bring... yeah, that's the only thing that I can bring myself, is the only way that we'll be able to is if we understand that there's still something left within him. But if he's too far gone, yeah, we're done. We're done for. It's hard to tell, but it seems torn. But it seems torn between whether he's using the cult as a delusion coping mechanism or genuinely has gone batshit crazy. Yeah, but the other thing we have to also understand is that there's probably symbolism within his character design that reveals stuff about it. So there is also that. Bye-bye, Angel. Bye-bye, Angel. Guys, there's not a single mod in the... There's not a single mod. There's not a single mod in the chat right now. It's absolutely lawless. It's absolutely lawless. Chocobo, do you want to be a mod? You're a very active member in the community, and you're very based, and you understand the politics well. That's the only requirement, is that you understand the politics, you understand that you are going to be associated with me, and you understand the implications that come from it. If you wanted to be a mod, why didn't you message me on Discord? I put out the application, and I was actually honestly expecting you to send me a message, but you didn't. Long story short, I was going to take a hiatus from social media, but changed my mind. Well, too bad. Your hiatus will never come because there you go. You're a moderator now. Well, we've gotten the reveal of his T3 voice drama, the second coming, and the border of the burning house. which instead this world is suffering with Buddhist translation. Interesting. Ah, man, I wish I could draw wrinkles. Fabric wrinkles. I wish I could draw fabric wrinkles. So far, it doesn't seem that like there's much past the religious connotations, but there is the whole flaming burning motif that's been consistent with Fuda. Yeah, I think that at first it was supposed to be like a flame of passion, but then it became like anxious fire that was like spreading, and now it's like a raging inferno of like all consuming stuff, right? Which fire is deeply symbolic, and it could have gone really any way. I could see that they could have gone like any way with it. Ah. What are we doing this stream? We were one, read the title and you'll be able to see, but two, it's honestly I have no idea. I was kind of waiting to play Deltarune, but I have not taken. So, Saline, why does Saline show up in your chat? Show up in your chat screen? What are you talking about? What? What are you talking about? Guessing right now. Milgram T3 votes are gonna be guilty Fuda, can't be saved, Ino Mu, sudden lord drop, Ino Kazui, guilty Amine, Ino Makoto, guilty Kotoko. That sounds good to me. But anyway, Chocobo, what we're gonna be doing today is again, I have no fucking clue. It's either one, I want to play some more Deltarune, or maybe do some reaction stuff. I have no idea. Honestly, I wanted to come on here just to chat and discuss some stuff and see where it goes. Yeah, but Moo deserves it. Fuck Moo. Fuck that bitch. Low key true, but I can't just smell. I could just smell the lower drop in her MV. Dude, after what we saw with her last one with Queen Bee, I don't. I can't imagine it. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back. Hello? Okay, so no Delta Rune for today. I hate Rebotuba, please. Wait, hold on. What? What? Some people just hate Moo because she was born rich, even though she's literally a minor in high school. Yeah. The thing, look, you hate on the bourgeoisie, but you should also hate the bourgeoisie for also bringing their children into it as well, right? But there's also the other thing is that you need to remember that there comes a point where eventually, depending on how deeply ingrained they are, they're also to blame at some point, right? Not economically, but ideologically, right? I mean, look at all the tropes of like the princesses viewing poor people as, horrible human beings and shit like that. Until post T2. Look, you can hate more than one person at a time, right? If you can't understand that, you're not a hater. You're not a hater like me, right? You're not D1. One cultist little girl directly kills two prisoners and brain damages a third. Yeah. Yeah. The fucking one cultist kills two prisoners. Yeah. Definitely. Uh We've got about 20 minutes left of the stream because we've been streaming for quite a while. So, Chris, I think you need to explain that to wait, are they still here? Cosmic League? Is Cosmic League still here? You need to go explain that to them because if you scroll up in chat, they were defending Amine, like it was their job. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, they were saying Amine Eno, but very complicated Amine Eno, and we went on a whole discussion about that. SMH, why aren't the new panty and stocking angels femboys or twinks? Why do they have to be muscular hunks, huh? Ironically, if Amine was guilty twice in a row, I think she'd just lose it completely either way. Oh, absolutely. Right? That was that was exactly what was going to happen. That's like the cut and dry thing. Best case scenario is a triple Eno Amine who's oblivious of her crimes and becomes a famed cult leader serial killer. That's not best case scenario. That is possibly worse. The thing about Moo is that she seems to have to not hate the lower class. She liked Haruka, and I don't think he or his family are upper class. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, definitely. It's more just in the case that she's a brat, right? She's just a fucking brat, and that has nothing to do with anything deeper than the fact that she's just spoiled, right? Which is obviously tied to the fact that her family's like very very rich, but it's she's not fucking like Mary Antoinette or fucking a Princess Anastasia, right? She's just Moo. That's all she is. She's a dumb girl that is super rude, super mean, and but also hurt quite a few people and did kill somebody because of how dumb she was, and that's why. And if she hadn't killed anyone, I would have voted her innocent. I would have been like, yeah, she's just an idiot. Uh, we could probably get her on our side, but the fact that she killed somebody because she was so selfish changed that, right? So mood's weird at the moment since the last timeline conversation with Kazui seems oblivious slash confused with Haruka's death being related to her could be another self-victimizing act. Well, remember we also have to understand that self-victimizing acts can be unconsciously done. They don't always have to be done inherently understood that they're happening, right? Because much like how a pathological liar will sometimes consciously lie, other times they will unconsciously lie and not even understand that they lied. I still, I still don't get it. Why would you have to tell me that? Did Haruka-kun die because of Moo? Tell me, Haruka-kun, why? Yeah, it's not Moo's fault that Haruka killed himself. Yeah, it's not. It is not. It is not her fault that he was so mentally unwell that he killed himself. That's not her fault at all. I would not. I'm not blaming, and I don't think I did blame Moo for Haruka dying. Yeah, that's the other thing is that Haruka, if he killed himself before the verdict, then literally it doesn't matter if you voted him innocent or guilty because he was going to kill himself anyway. I feel like that's one of those like narrative things that was just going to happen regardless, right? And the only thing that changes is how people view it, not actually the events that occurred. If the community knew what was revealed in the T2 intro regarding what each verdict means, probably would have gotten a T1 guilty Haruka route. Probably. Because it isn't related to Moo. It's inevitable that the first person would die to set an example. Yeah, probably. Absolutely, actually. I definitely believe that because it's just one of those things where at least one of the prisoners that is fundamental to like everything would die at some point, and Haruka was fundamental in that he was the first. Exactly what I said. Chat delayed. I mean, there's only like, well, you have to remember for chat delay, there's only like a 1 or 2 second delay between what you see and what I see, right? The moment you put something in chat, there's only like a second delay at most between it popping up on the stream, but I see it immediately. There's probably only like a second delay between you sending it and me seeing it, and then it going up on screen. So 2 seconds overall in terms of what the stream sees. I mean, Haruka's whole reason for killing himself is that he had no self worth, right? Yeah. In that sense, there's no way to stop him from thinking that. Yeah. Because even if you voted him innocent, what does that change? That he was worthy? If anything, that just says that he isn't worthy, depending on how he interprets it, and that his crime was justified in trying to prove his self-worth. Since in his eyes, it's okay to die because he's worthless, while everyone else is fine, and therefore it's fine for him to die for a greater good. Blah blah blah. Yeah. The main reason he killed himself was due to remorse. His mom would also never look at him the same way. That the that's the way I interpret his episode, at least. That makes sense. Reason why was due to remorse. Yeah. I thought something new sent. I was like, oh. The only way it could have worked out is if T1 Mu guilty, which would never happen, or T1 Haruka guilty, which also wouldn't happen since he was the first prisoner and there wasn't a standard. Yeah, it's hard when you do something and it's impossible to reverse it, and nobody would ever look at you in the same light. But in Haruka's case, it's an extreme. Yeah. Well, it's also one of those things that like you just have to surround yourself with people that you would understand you and wouldn't judge you in a harsh way and like jump to conclusions, right? Like I'm sure there's plenty of people in my life who would never view me the same way again if I told them that I was a socialist, right? But that's just due to culture. That's just due to like the Red Scare, other things like that. But I know that I have a community where that's accepted, right? I've literally built a community with other people of that believe in the same things I do. So it's kind of just like one of those things where shit like that always happens, right? There's inevitably going to be contradictions. There's inevitably going to be tension. There's inevitably going to be friction between people, right? So you just gotta be able to fucking figure it out and not let it overwhelm you, that sort of thing. So robbed of Shido T3. His character arc was possibly one of the best written in the cast. I was really, really interested in what was going to happen with Shido, but then Amine, the fucking bitch, killed him. Yeah, Kino der Token in Black Ops 1. How about we make it Kino der Woken? Welcome back, Solane. That was longer than 30 minutes, I'll have you know. But lucky for you, you still kept your number one chatter crown the entire time. Yeah, Chris is a mod now. Actually, speaking of, I need to make you a mod in the Discord too. Give me a second. All right, where's Bucket Girl at? There they are. There they are. All right. Roles, cadre. There we go. All right, you have the cadre role in the Discord now too. Isn't Your Turn to Die a game? Isn't that a game? Okay, look. I'll play it. I'll play it on stream. Tomorrow. You know what? Crowdfunding time. Pay. How much? How much is the game on Steam? Hold on. Your turn to die. $17. $17. There's your crowdfund, guys. There's your crowdfund. Uh, Hold on. Has choices really important. Your turn to die. There you go. 30-minute timer. Why? I couldn't say die in the fucking goal, whatever. You can play for free, by the way. Yeah, but, 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 I want money. Okay. There's only 2 people in this stream. It's 2 people that I've already paid. It doesn't fucking matter. Every time I put these goals, I know it's not going to happen. Who the fuck pinged me? Oh, thank you. Until I got blasted with that loud ass ad. Let that fuel you. Let that fuel you. Every ad you see on my stream that I put in, let it fuel you towards the downfall of capitalism. I'm not using that. LOL. I'm gonna put something in serious discussion because it's funny as fuck. My grandma bought dentures from TikTok shop and she was surprised she got scammed. I wonder why. What's the free market, guys? It's based. It's the free market. Oh man, I don't have the button. I don't have the ad button anymore. If I turn on aggressive ad placement, I can place an ad wherever I want. So like literally in the middle of like me talking, I can put an ad. China, we all know TikTok is an evil Chinese spyware app. China bad. Yeah, exactly, guys. Exactly. We need to understand that the CEO isn't Singaporean and that he is obviously clearly tied. What is this? Based. Based as fuck. Based as fuck. Based as fuck. Yeah, it's obviously located in China. He looks Asian, well, he's clearly Chinese. I've heard a r slash tanky jerk user say anything other than China bad. I've never heard an r slash tanky user say anything other. Yeah, which is so funny to me because like I would wear the term tanky as a badge of fucking honor because why is it that every time a tanky is says something and people say that they're bad, it ends up that they were the ones that were right? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Literally, tanky is just the new word for kami. Like that's it. That's it. That's it. How the fuck are you actually no. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, I was going to say, how the fuck are you xenophobic and communist? Well, the Sino-Soviet split clearly led to. Well, that explains it. Ugh. It's it is it is super bad. I think a xenophobic communist is as bad as an ultra communist. It's as bad as a left com too. Like all look, there is only three forms of communism and like socialism that I will not allow on my channel. That's Trotskyism because it's revisionist and it's perpetual revolution, and that inherently doesn't understand the ideas of uplifting material conditions and the potential for eventual revolution elsewhere. And it predicates itself on the fact that socialism can only work through world revolution, when the fact is that world revolution can work, but that does not mean that socialism can only work if world revolution is reached. Ultra communist is basically ultras are. It, in my definition, an ultra is just an armchair communist, right? They're the person that says, "Oh, that's not real communism. That's not real communism. That's not real socialism." Right? That's what an ultra is. Ultra is not saying that they are super socialist and want to be as socialist as possible. It's more in the way that they're Puritans. They're chauvinist, right? They're ultra sectarian and wanting to be like um, wanting to be like super correct and everything like that. And then obviously left com is a left com. Ultra, ultra. The term ultra-left is rarely used in English. Instead, people tend to speak broadly of left communism as a variant of traditional Marxism. The French equivalent, ultra-gauche, has a stronger meaning in that language and is used to define a movement that still exists today, a branch of left communism developed by the theorist. Hold on. Okay. So hold on. Oof. What's that French term I heard that was apparently related to communism? Ultra gauche, ultra gauche, something. Uh, I'm not familiar with that term. I might be familiar with a different term, but is defined particularly by its breed of anti-authoritarian Marxism, which generally involves an opposition to the state and to state socialism, as well as parliamentary democracy and wage labor. In opposition to Bolshevism, the ultra-left generally places heavy emphasis upon the autonomy of self-organization of the proletariat. It rejected the necessity of a revolutionary party and was described as a permanently counterposing the masses to the leaders. Yeah, that's a pretty good example of what that is. Um, hold on, what? Passe? But yeah, that's what a ultra is that they're like, they think that you can't have the state or other things like that, which is really, really stupid and basically fucking fundamentally ignores everything. I could go on and I could probably do an entire stream on how stupid that is, but I cannot because of the fact that I need to leave. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for being so based. Um, but yeah, I need to get going because food's going to be here very soon. So, uh, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. I'll probably just be doing another stream tomorrow, and I have no idea what I'm going to upload tomorrow, though, but it'll be after 12 o'clock is when I'll stream. But yeah. Bye, 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 bye.